All right.
Somebody not muted.
Hey, hey.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey.
What's up, fellas?
Good. Lisa, how you doing?
Doing good. Doing good. I was grooving so hard to our new countdown music.
Yes. Yeah, that was some nice. Yeah, that was a nice tune you pulled out.
I had to find a nice mix between, Miami Holiday with like the West Coast Mark, and then, a little jam rock Chris. So, and then, with JJ in the Mile High. So it was a unique task, but we did it. We did it. Welcome back, y'all, for another week of discussion. I missed you guys this week, and I'm going to tell you why in a little bit. Let's get Mark on camera because we miss him too. Mark, you didn't run away from us once you saw today's topic, did you?
I was jamming to the music so hard, I was back there just bumping to it, I was, man, yeah, so yeah. How was your week, fellas? How was the week, everybody?
It's good, man.
Mark, what's going on, my brother?
Good.
I think maybe Charles had a good week. I mean, I can't tell besides, the decoration that he has going on. But...
Oh, it's definitely been a good weekend for me. Absolutely. It's definitely been a great weekend and a great week. I know y'all see the Inspired Fit so far, man. Compliments of America's best team, Yeah, not America's favorite, America's best. Get it right.
America's favorite. Nice. Well, appreciate you, bringing the the spirit to the panel. We know you never disappoint.
Absolutely.
So for everyone tuning in, thank you for joining us again. And we have some new subscribers this week, so I don't know if they're on with us yet, but just wanted to give a quick shout out to Kindred, Veronica, Chloe. We got Yan and Andy who are new subscribers to the channel. So welcome, y'all. Thank you for tuning in. And for our regular attendees, you are tuned into He.Motions, where every Wednesday night we uncover the fella's point of view to help us evolve our relationships with ourselves and with others. So as you know, I am your host, Alicia, and we have Mark, Chris, Holiday, and JJ is also on the panel, but not with us tonight. He's celebrating love at a wedding. Hopefully he saves us some cake. But yeah, that would be great. But what keeps this dialogue unique and fresh is that our viewers are very much a part of the conversation. So if you thought this was just something you was going to turn on and listen to while you're cleaning up, you may want to get active. So don't be shy. We want to hear your thoughts, so leave them in the chat. Our only ask is that you keep it respectful and out of love. So if you could begin by letting us know what city you're tuning in from, and we'll get into some mind games conversations right now. But what do y'all want to greet the folks and tell them hello?
I want to greet my folks from the West Coast. I got some people that signed in. Hope I'm listening to some of those from the Florida, but we want to welcome all our guests. You guys, would love to have you, and we're getting ready to get into some real conversation. So welcome, one and all.
Yo, welcome. Tuning in straight from the bottom, man. Y'all already know who it is. Holiday in the building, man. Every day is a holiday for me. But welcome, kings and queens. Yeah, man, strap up, man, to get ready for good conversations, man. Don't be shy, man. We want to hear from you. Trust me, we responding. We are responding.
Mm-hmm.
Greetings, blessings and manners. Lord of mercy. Welcome.
I can't stand him sometimes. So we're gonna jump right in because this was a colorful week for your girl. And I couldn't wait to just get you all's thoughts on. So this week we're talking about mind games, and that could mean a lot of different things. So for those of you tuning in the chat, let us know what comes to your mind when you hear the term mind games. And I don't know that there's one specific definition, but what we're going to talk about is the internal wars that happen in the mind. So if you're one of those people who have conquered your internal thoughts and you don't have no issues with what voice to listen to in your head, this is probably not going to be the conversation for you. All right. We're talking about some internal struggles where we're still trying to define what side of the fence we should try to act on and the whole nine. So it's no surprise that the external noises have amplified in the last 20 months or so, right? Like there's just so much noise going on, whether it's around COVID and vaccines and just what to do next and kids going back to school. And it's just been a lot of Black Lives Matter. It's been just a lot of noise. And as if that's not enough, we also have to manage the noise internally. So I'm gonna just kick it off with the heavy hitter because we ain't got time to waste on this conversation. So I'm gonna ask you all, who or what is your inner demon? Like, what is that thorn in your side? And for some, it could be depression. For some, it could be codependency. It might be anxiety. It might be regret. Like, there's so many different, it could be anger. What is your inner demon? So I'm going to start with Holiday first.
Oh, we. All right, my inner demon. This is a safe place, right?
This is, of course.
Nobody but us listening. Holiday.
That's it.
Yeah, man. To be honest, I really struggled with addiction. And for me, it was the self-medication of herbal medicine. I'm gonna just say it like that. Yeah, I had it bad. And I'm gonna say pre-pandemic, it was mild. But I would say when the pandemic hit, it really kind of like turned up a notch, and it was kind of difficult only because when my son was being born, my son was coming into the world, I really had to kind of quit cold turkey. And that was the hardest thing for me to do. And I'm not throwing nobody out there, but at the time, my significant other, we would partake together. So, it was actually, a bonding thing, So when she had to quit cold turkey because my son was being born, I said, you know what? In solidarity, I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna do this together. And it was kind of like the hardest thing because then that's when I realized I really had it bad, because I really started having those days where I felt like irritated and frustrated and fidgety and feeling like I really needed it. Like that would have been the only thing to relieve some of the stress that I was really dealing with and going through. You know what I mean? And still, be honest, still trying to like get a handle on it. You know what I mean? It's difficult, but for me, it's just what it plays in your head, because remember, you're still activated through entertainment, through social media, so you're seeing it everywhere. Because I see it so much.
Yeah,
it's like I kind of feel like I'm missing my old girlfriend or something. Like I need it back, in my life. You know, and
she
what I mean?
Probably looking more finer now than she was when you were.
Oh my goodness, pretty colors in the hair. Oh my goodness, yes, smelling good. I mean, the aroma. Yeah, but like I said, that's something that I'm working on day by day. And I know it's, for some people, that's like, it's nothing. You know what I mean? They give it away as medicine to certain people. It's being used for medicinal purposes. But when you have a newborn in the household, when you have a youth in the household, you definitely can't take those chances of him being exposed. You know what I mean? So I had to make those tough decisions, for him. But yeah, I mean, I'm not perfect. I still have my days where I might relapse.
Hey man, listen, this is a safe place for that, but we're gonna talk about the mental behind even those activities. So Charles kicked it off with some vulnerability. Y'all already know what time it is. We got Texas joining in. Hey Essence girl. We got some folks tuning in. So if you're in the chat, and I can't stand, why Andy on this stuff every week? Andy talking about if you know someone giving it away, let him know. I can't stand him. Anyway, back to the cannot. Anyway,
we got Texas in the building too, man. Shout out to Texas, man.
Shout out to Texas. Shout out to Texas. Chris, you're up. Inner demon.
Holiday, want some brown sugar? You want some more brown sugar?
I do.
My inner demon, I used to call my inner demon when I was younger, nephew. Now
Really?
he grew up to uncle demon. And
he's maturing. He's growing.
I'm not laughing, but
it's real. Uncle really represents anger.
Oh, okay.
Right. So I have like some anger issues beyond. You understand? So I had to like tuck uncle in, you know, try to pop out every now and then, but I just try to tuck it in. But it's pretty much just feeling of, I think it's something like guilt, or from back in the day that I didn't forgive myself for, and you know, just various things. And then it's just a battle in your head, you know, to do the right thing. And for me personally, I usually get ticked off the most from men who talk crap, right? As soon as they talk crap, I want to go off. And I mean, I go off to the point where the options are ICU, prison, or morgue. That's how
just
bad
those three. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. That's the options. There's nothing else, right? So I had to work on that. I had to identify it first, because we had a thing that when I was working with Mark and them, we had a thing called IIRV, which is a troubleshooting method. First, you identify, then you isolate, then you repair, and then you verify if it's fixed.
Nice.
And I realized that that can be done in almost anything. So if you can identify what the problem is first, then from there, now you can isolate what it is exactly. That's the causation. And then you can work on repairing it, and then you can verify if it works. And then how you can verify, people will say to you like, wow, you changed, or you're not getting mad at that, or stuff like that. But that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Okay. So anger is your uncle demon.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Mark?
And I just want to second that with Chris, because we saw the change.
Thank you.
Chris, I'm a witness. Chris was, he was a man after somebody. Bruce Banner didn't want to mess with Chris.
Wow. And you know what, as a woman, sometimes we like to have a crazy guy in the back pocket, right? That doesn't ask no questions. It just shows up when you need him to. The problem with Chris, though, is like he said, he gave you only the three options that could be outcomes. And you're not always necessarily looking for ICU, a morgue, or prison. Sometimes you just want to shake up somebody. But I just don't know if Chris has that medium, right?
I think he has it now. I think
he might have it now.
Yeah, he stays a
Yeah.
lot.
Oh, no. I mean, honestly, lately, you know, like Charles said, a relapse, you know, I made a police call police on me in Jamaica. So, I mean.
Please call the police.
Yeah.
Can we get that story? Is it safe to share?
Maybe another time, in case.
But if you all hear the police had to call the police.
The police
y'all
had to
get
call
that?
the police.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to make sure.
Yeah.
Chris, I need that story, man. Like, what happened?
Real thing. Yeah. But just a talk crap and have him gone, and you know, and once you have a gun on you, I don't allow you to get any space.
Oh.
Because the closer I am is it's the probability of me getting out at the line of sight for the shot is, you know, the probability is better. So I just, rush on him and don't give him no space. And then, him just get cookie-eyed and all that stuff. And then him call the police and call the people for the association and all this stuff. But yeah.
The fact that you know those probabilities, like, further support the idea of you being crazy, low-key. Or at least in the past you were, because you've thought about these probabilities like pretty thoroughly. Wow.
Just don't say nothing to incriminate yourself, brother. That's it. Just don't say nothing that will incriminate you.
Yeah, listen, man. Listen, it gone already, and him already get cookie-eyed, and him, it didn't feel good about himself. But everything, I'm safe. Everything worked out. You know what I mean? But it just reminded me, I need to work on that, because right when I think, oh, I'm good, this man just draw out uncle. And,
you both bring up a good point about how you could think that we're making progress, right? And that, you're making some headway, and then something will come and we'll mess around and knock you right. And you're like, hold up, I thought I was past this. But yeah, certain things can provoke you or trigger a certain response. Yeah. So Mark, talk to us about yours. I see the chat. The chat ain't got no movement, y'all. They are not trying to, let y'all know.
Well, I tell you what, I wouldn't say a demon, but I would say a serious challenge for me coming out of my natural habitat is not to stop being so passive. Like, if I could get 1/3 of that out of Chris, just 1/3, not too much, just 1/3, just a sprinkle.
Yeah.
But not being so passive with people, situations, be a little more aggressive, a little more, But that I can do that, but I have to come out of my natural state. So my natural state is just like, I don't want no trouble. I'm out. So I have to come out of my natural state. So my challenge on a daily, and I even see it in my son, and me and him had a conversation about get a little hot sauce in your blood. A little hot sauce in there. So it's a situation, I share this, I hope you don't mind me sharing it, I'm gonna share it anyway. Situation where he was parked in a parking spot. It was a guy had parked in a parking spot, but how some people park over the line.
Mm-hmm.
So Markel parked right close to the car, and the guy and the girl looked at him like, "Bro, what you doing?" And he said what he wanted to say, like, "Well, why the hell did you park your car right?" But he said he told him, I won't be in for a little bit, I'll be right out. But he said he wanted to kill himself because he was like, why did I do that? And I had to tell him, listen, sometimes you have to fight what your first impulse is sometimes, because that's your natural movement, is just to be like this, no interaction, no, what's the word I'm looking for? No conflict, trying to avoid conflict. Mm-hmm. So sometimes you have to kind of stand your ground, even on little situations, just let people know that, oh, okay. So yeah, so that would be my biggest challenge throughout my whole life, even now, that I have to personally fight against that.
Okay, not being too passive.
Yeah.
I struggle with like 7 things, so I'll try to narrow it down. But doubt has been messing with me, which leads to like the whole insecurity / in feeling like inadequate. So those are kind of married. And regret, like just wishing I could redo some things or go about some things differently. And although I know we can't, like sometimes I just get choked up in one of those 3 things. So those have come in pretty heavy this season. I don't know what's going on with that. But have you guys ever struggled with like doubt, inadequacy, regret? Has any of those plagued you? I'm still peeping at the chat. They don't have any problems apparently, but go ahead.
I was gonna say, a wise man once said, and if you've gone through life with no regrets, then you really haven't lived. So experience is the best teacher sometimes. So you got to really go through stuff to know. So I don't struggle with regrets because anything that I've done is kind of molded and shaped me to be the person I am today.
Yes.
Right. So if I haven't gone through stuff, I wouldn't know how to handle things better, how to approach situations differently. You know what I mean? So yeah.
That's a very Hallmark way of putting it. I get it. And I'm not discounting it because what you're saying is the truth. I'm just saying that sometimes it just like has you in that chokehold. Mark, were you about to say something?
Oh no, I was saying, well, in the Bible class that I attend, one thing that I've come to know is that regret is a waste of time because probably on this holiday, not so much as a waste of time, but if you look at it as a sense of I know every step I've made has been ordained by Yahweh, and if I'm happy where I am right now, if I'm at my point right now that I am happy, then I wouldn't want to change anything that's happened before that's even the bad stuff because it could have led me down another road. So I don't regret anything that I've done now. Is there some things that I made some bad decisions on? Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. But do I regret having made them? No, because I am totally happy where I am right now. And I know, that game that you play where you drop the ball and it bounces all around and you're hoping that it get into the 1 million mark. Well, if it lands in the $1 million mark, you don't care how that ball bounces around because it landed where it needs to be. And right now, I am where I need to be. And Hale, you just said it. Everything I've done prior to this, he led my steps for me to be here. So, bad decisions, yes. Regret, no.
That is a good point to differentiate between the two because it's like, I could have did better on that decision, but it doesn't necessarily mean you got to regret. Okay, so good point. I get that. Chris, were you about to add something?
Yeah, I think I have a esoteric perspective on this because one of my demons is doubt. And because I'm moving on now to doing my own thing, right? There's one voice that tells me, Chris, go and do this, because that's the desire. That's really what I have inside. That's really what I want. The other voice, which is usually my conscious side of my brain, which usually tells me, wants to be systematic, want to know how it's going to happen.
Logic.
Control, logic, how is it going to work? The other side of me that has the burning desire uses no logic. It just gives you a hunch, go get it. And then from there now, and this is what a lot of people don't realize is for you to really move forward, and it's in the Bible and everything. You have people going to church, Christians, all this stuff. You have to have faith. That's hard. Because when that doubt come in, or you look at your bank account and you're saying, whoa, what's going on with my fat savings and all this stuff, you still have to roll with it, right? And usually I realize people who are successful are the ones who follow them hunches, follow them burning desire, follow the intuition, because if not, to me, I'm just going to be existing. Yeah. I'm not going to be living. So I decided to just go all the way.
Yeah. And you brought up a good point too, because I have a friend who tells me like how important it is to lean into that discomfort. Like you got to, like if one thing is telling you to go back to safety and the other thing is telling you to go closer to the fire, like as crazy as it sounds, you got to lean into that, to the opposite of what you would normally do. And Chris, you're absolutely right. It's tough. We got some folks tuning in. Okay, so we have impatience is somebody's thorn in their side. And I could add, that's one of my 7. I know I told you I had a lot. Are any of y'all impatient? Yeah, Holiday said me. Mark, you're just like.
Huh? I think I have too much patience.
You do have a lot of patience.
Yeah, it has to be a balance, but too much patience to me can be just as bad as being impatient.
Yeah. No, we like
I
things.
had it bad. Yeah, I have it bad still. Like
Yeah.
I would tell somebody to be ready an hour in advance just so they will be ready on time because I can't stand to be waiting around. Especially if we got to be somewhere at a certain time. So I'm gonna always tell you, yeah, it starts at 4:00 when it really starts at 5. You know, so you can be ready
Right.
because when you get there at 4:30 and you trying to be, oh, I'm sorry, we're late. We really not. We on time. But
Right.
thank you know.
So you built in the buffer because you
Yeah.
know you're impatient. Okay, that's
I'm the
smart.
person. I'm the person that's going. I'm gonna pay the extra to surpass the line because I can't wait in line. Yeah, for
See,
anywhere. Yeah,
that's
I'm
how
the
Mister
person
is. He will leave a store. He'll drive to the store for something, see that there's a long line, and leave because he's like, I'm paying you my money. Why am I waiting in line to get? Anyway, that's another subject. We got Essence said fear and the idea of what success looked like for me, not knowing my purpose. And lastly, time is my inner demon. Oh, so when that clock starts ticking and you think, you're running out of time. So Georgia said doubt. Doubt is a killer. And, is different levels of that doubt thing because when you're fully employed and you're trying to do some on the side, the doubt's not as noisy. But when you leave that job, that 9 to 5, where the paycheck is, every
go to
2
the safety
weeks,
rope.
right? It's cutting that safety net. So that's a whole different. That doubt gets so much louder. Chris, you look like you fresh on that.
Oh yeah. Every day. I have to fight. This damn thing every day. And then sometimes it get louder, sometimes chill, you understand? Because I see because on the journey, you see certain things starting to unfold, things that even seem unrelated. Like a hunch might tell you, go and do this. But you're like, but it's not even related to my goal. But you have this like, you feel is compelled to do it. And then when you do it now, you realize, oh, if I didn't go here, then I wouldn't have met this person. That's taking me to my goal. But if I follow my logical mind, I'm like, no, systematically that doesn't make any sense. And a lot of the times, that's why most of us don't meet our goals. And I mean, even in the Bible, if you're religious, it preaches faith, but people don't understand what it is. Well, I truly didn't understand what it is until I started going through this. Then I realized, wow, because your subconsciousness is something else because you've been feeding it all these doubt and fears. And sometimes it's your significant other, because sometimes you might have a passion and a dream, or your mom or your dad, you have a passion and dream, and them kill it. And they didn't even realize, but they're trying to look out for you and trying to be pragmatic and practical. But most of the time, you just kill their dreams, and now they're like depressed and just existing, and you wonder why.
Something just came to me while you were talking, and it sounds like logic is actually the real killer. Not even doubt. It ain't even doubt. It's sometimes those practical, like 1 + 1 = 2 things that you think make sense and are safe. Those are like the real killers. It's when you don't lean into, what we can talk about leaning into all day. All right. So next question I have for you guys. I'm curious to know, like, how does these thorns in your side, or how do these inner demons, how do they show up in your relationships with other people? Like, do you find in some cases that it could be like manipulation, or it could be that you need acceptance, or do you need like more reassurance? Does it show up? Do you snap off on them a lot quicker? Like, what is these insecurities, or what do these thorns in your side, how do they show up with other people? And Mark, for you, I'm wondering, do you get taken advantage of over there, being too, accommodating and too patient?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, people take advantage of it. Yeah, so in my previous relationship, it's been taken advantage of. So they know I'm gonna get it done, or I'm gonna see it through, or he's not gonna say nothing. And as Harley was speaking earlier, with having that much patience, even the most patient person at a point, you're like, okay, and we'll be the ones with the high blood pressure and the anxiety and the because we hold it all in, right? Like, well, I'll put up with this. I'll put up with this. So we take on more than what we do. But yeah, it shows up as maybe a person who needs someone to take, to so not speaking from a woman's perspective, but you hear women say, I want a man to challenge. I want to say no, but I say no, but I want the man to say yes and be a man and grab me and make me blah blah. You just have some people like that. They're gonna why I don't know, but they'll challenge you, but they want you to challenge them back. They want you to push back them and don't let me do what I want to do.
Mm.
So, but I'm not the person for that person. So you
Mm.
would just be like, I'm just gonna, you feel like you're gonna run all over me, but I don't feel like you're running over me. I feel like I'm just not bothered by what you're doing. Just do whatever you're gonna do. It's not bothering me. But for someone on the outside, it look like, man, she's running the relationship.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it comes off as being passive, comes off as being not manly, so to speak. So yeah.
Has it frustrated your partner at times? Or
Yeah.
yeah.
Especially in my previous relationship, it frustrated them because they wanted someone to make a decision. Even something as simple as, babe, which one to eat tonight? I don't know what you want to eat. Yeah, you all know how that can go. Just 15 minutes later, still ain't no decision.
By the way, that's one of the most heated debates in COVID. That is one of the most heated conversations in COVID is what's for dinner. But go ahead.
Yeah. So and that's it. So it's sort of be stuff like that they want you to make a decision, and because you're trying to be accommodating and you're being a little passive, no decisions are being made. So it comes off as I can't ask him nothing because he's not making no decision. So I had to start fighting against that, and even when I want to say, oh, I'm good, I'll just say something just to be done with it.
Okay. All right.
So yeah. So it comes off in that tone.
Chris, how does it show up for you?
I mean, it shows up less now, but insecurity. One time I was like really, really insecure. You know what I mean? Who you? Why? Yeah. Well, you're looking at the man, so you steer. You know what I mean? But after a while,
that's how you used to. That's how you used to check her.
Yeah, I mean, come on, you're straight up. Yeah, listen, I'm impulsive already. You know what I mean? It's just, listen, it's just you're dissing me. You know what? But it get, with maturity, it got less and less. But usually now, if I feel some kind of insecurity, it's usually something wrong. You understand? Or sometimes there's a change in pattern or something like that, and then you're like, you know what I mean? But I mean, everybody should have some kind of insecurity some point in time. You can't tell me you just go through life so secure, okay? So, yeah, that's one.
And then, so with yours being anger, you said that it's mainly with guys that trigger that for you. I mean, I'm sure women don't get off easy, but usually it's the men challenging you.
No. The women, no, because I was just reminded to, by a significant other that I'm short-tempered, or one of my friends said, but sometimes what it is that I realize that I have a tone, regardless if I'm mad or not. You understand? I mean, that tone of the pros and cons, because in certain conflicts, once they hear this tone now, that's straighten up now, you know what I mean? But if I'm talking to you just regularly, sometimes I think I'm mad, and I'm not mad. But that's just something for, work out. Yeah.
All right. Before jumping a holiday, looks like Tony said impatience causes me to be reactive instead of being proactive. This sometimes leads to being quick to respond and slower in processing the information or situation beforehand. I can relate to that.
Tony sounds like a psychiatrist.
She does sound like a psychiatrist, right?
Tony is deep. Tony is
Hey,
deep on
Tony's
this.
going through healing for herself. Listen, she said I could deal with this conversation. Y'all talking about some real stuff over here.
She on the couch right now, on the couch, laid back right now. Listen. Go ahead, Tony.
Holiday, what's your thoughts?
Especially on the impatience aspect of like one of my thorns, because it definitely has caused that in my life. Only because of the frustrations that it brings me when I get impatient. You know what I mean? Having to wait on someone else, knowing that I'm already ready and they're not ready, it'll cause me to get frustrated to where I won't even want to go no more. Like, don't invite me to the mall or to Ross and I get in there and I see this line down the street. I'm waiting for you in the car. I'm leaving and we can come back another day. Like, my impatience is like at a different level. And I know that that has actually affected me when it came to even relationships, because I've always felt like I want what I want when I want it. Why do I have to wait? Especially when you're already telling me that you have the same visions, the same mindset as me, maybe even the same feeling, the same emotion. So what are we waiting for? You know what I mean? To the point where I can get frustrated and just fade to black. And I could potentially lose out on a good person, a good situation, only because of my impatience. So I know that that is a demon, because I need to really sometimes just take some time and just, move at a different pace. But like I said, I've always been used to, oh, if I'm finna go out that night and I'm with the fellas and we see a line down the street, I'm headed straight to VIP. How much? Okay, yeah, because y'all gonna stay in line for an hour. I'm gonna be already inside on my second cup. That was just always my mentality. I can't wait, so impatience is a big one, definitely. And not too much as far as like speaking, but just reacting. I react quick off of impatience, and that's something that I could definitely work on.
So it sounds like you'll check out altogether if the speed is just
quick. Yeah.
Alicia, Georgia Wiggins said, time is not my friend. I probably was born late.
Hey, I feel you on that. I can relate. It's running out too fast. Especially this whole year that we've gone through. Like, this year is almost over already. And I'm still like, I can still replay 2020, how crazy it was. I can still remember January of this year. Now we already in almost October. Like, time is really flying, so definitely it kind of impacts my impatience as well, because I feel like I really don't have no time. I really gotta go. I gotta move. I gotta make things happen. You know what I mean? So yeah.
I think when it comes on to impatience, I mean it's on a broader spectrum, because you can be impatient with one person and very patient with another. I could be, this person called me and I can't wait for them to come off of the phone, right? And then another person, I just there, just chilling. So I'm just saying, you know what I mean? You could be more patient. You could be more patient with one child than you are with another child. You know what I mean? I can be patient, and then I realized the other day, I'm okay, I'm good. But then I realized the other day, Chris, why are you trying to beat the light? You're not rushing to go nowhere.
So it could be situational.
It's definitely situational.
Right. Yeah.
That's a good word. Right. I didn't find it. Good job. But that's what I'm,
Understandable. I think the way mine shows up in relationships is, Charles kind of hit it when he says he fades to black. I just get quiet. I get short with my responses. Like, I turn inward and I just go to an island, and it takes like some effort to kind of pry me out of that, or after some time I'll kind of pry myself out. But that's like my natural go-to. I talked to Chris on accident a couple of days ago in the midst of my being in a shell. I was just calling him to let him know something real quick, and it turned into a conversation that I was not trying to have because I was trying to be in my shell. But that's my normal go-to, because a part of that too is like, everybody's already going through everything. Like, you don't want to really burden everybody with stuff. And some things you just don't want to say out loud. So I'm not proud of it, but that's how sometimes I handle that. Anyway, moving on. We got Kindred that joined us. Hey, Kindred, let me jump to the next one. There's another question I had in mind for you guys. So how do you recognize, and it kind of goes back into what I was just mentioning of how you might want to stay a certain type of way, or this is how you cope with it, but how do you recognize when it's time to reach out, or when it's time to get help, or when it's time to shake it off, or like, how do you go about recognizing within yourself that you gotta make a change? Charles, you want to go first?
When those anthills turn to mountains, when the little things turn to something great, when you go from 0 to 100 and you got to think back, like, why did I really take it there? Like, then it's like, yeah, this is a problem. It's getting bad. Something has to give, You're reacting too quickly, man, and creating situations that aren't necessary. You know what I mean? Unnecessary arguments or drama, negativity out of nowhere for no reason, really. You know what I mean? Just based on just your feelings at the moment, So you kind of really have to identify it, and if you do, then you can kind of talk yourself or talk to each other through it. You know what I mean? And see if you guys can get to a better place, and then moving forward, see if this is something that we can avoid based on just communication, better communication.
Okay. So Charles, how do you go about getting the help or the resolve that you need? What does that look like? So you just noticed that you've been super impatient for 2 weeks and you're like, dang, Charles, you've been tripping. Holiday, do this, or who do you reach out to? What do you do to begin offsetting that?
I'm gonna tell you, pre-pandemic, heavily medicate yourself.
Okay.
I was heavily medicating myself, and that's how I kept doing it.
Yeah.
and I didn't have no worries in the world. But as the pandemic took place, I actually reached out in a different way, man, and I actually got professional help, man. I have a therapist. Yeah.
You go to therapy, man. So Black men go to therapy. Are we debunking that right now?
Never thought I would be that person. Never believed in it, but yeah, I really had to. It got to the point where I needed to talk to somebody because I was losing it, man.
Yeah.
It was a lot going on between life, death, COVID, just
new dad.
New world, a new dad. Yeah, it was a lot, man. And I just really saw myself, man, changing. And I didn't like the person I was becoming. I didn't like how I was handling people. I didn't like how I was responsible. You know what I mean? So I knew I had to take accountability, man, and ownership for that. You know what I mean? And I knew I couldn't deal or handle it myself. And I didn't want to handle it the way I would normally handle it because that really doesn't solve the problem, right? I can self-medicate myself, but I'm gonna need to do it the next day once I get back sober. And I start to think about the problem again. Guess what? Now I need to go ahead and self-medicate again. So that would have just compounded another problem, you know? So yeah, I reached out, great resources on my end as far as through companies that I affiliated with. So I was able to go ahead and take advantage of some of those benefits, and I'm glad I did.
How do you like it? Look, I gotta know. Like, so how do you like therapy?
You see how he's smiling? How you think he like? Look, he's smiling every time he says something. He's smiling. That self-medication works.
That self-medication work.
Smiling all the time.
Yeah, mental health is important, man. Yes, definitely take advantage of that, man. And if you need to seek counseling, please take advantage of it, man, because it helped me. And I didn't believe in it in the beginning, but I've learned so much about myself and how I handle situations and other ways on how to handle things. I'm glad I took that route.
Listen, Tony agrees. She says self-reflection, healing starts with first acknowledging the problem, right? Because it's so easy to either just say, hey, man, this is how I am, or, you know what, I'm just stressed out right now. I just need a handle. You know what I'm saying? but the fact that you were able to reach out for help is the biggest part, because in our community we weren't really taught how to or when or that we should. So I commend you for doing that. Yeah, I commend you for doing that. That's dope.
Alicia, there is this philosopher called Butler Yeats, and I'm not sure if I said this before, but he said it's easier for a soldier to step out on the battlefield than explore the dark corners of his own soul and his own mind. So I respect the fact that Charles come out, and I only know a few men like this, right? I probably can count on my one hand, right? That come out and just straight up tell you, listen, I go to therapy. Listen, people need therapy. You're not bigger than therapy. Maybe you can't pay to go to a therapist, but it's either you listen to some kind of sermon, some kind of affirmation, some kind of positive message, because what guys like to do when they go around the other guys is keep with this whole heap of tough chat, act like, oh, I'm this and I don't do that and I don't need that, right? But sometimes you're the one going there and crying and begging the girl like boys the man. But then when you reach on the guys again now, right? All of a sudden you're tough on you, whatever, it's foolishness, and don't buy into it. You understand? Be you and love you, and don't care what they say. Because trust me, that's how I do it. I don't care. And the majority of the time when I start to reveal to them, listen, man, if you love the girl, you love the girl. Don't with the foolishness. Most of the time, they start to break down and go, true, true. Real talk, big man talk. I mean, but don't buy into that macho. It's just an act.
Yeah.
Thanks.
It's just an act. So anyway, respect for that, Charles. Big up. Yeah.
Appreciate that, man.
Good job.
Yeah. But that takes years of, I was gonna say, Chris, that takes years of deprogramming, man, because men, especially black men, we just got it bad from day one. Don't cry, don't show your emotion, keep it in, don't express it, blah blah. So you get up now, we in our 40s, 50s, and it's hard to come to the realization that, man, all that crap has been, just keeping me down. But and I think one of the listeners said, you have to first become aware that you have an issue, and sometimes that don't take place until either you're affected financially, spiritually, mentally. After you lose, like I tell anybody, after you go through a marriage, your second marriage should be fairly decent, because you should be able to look back on the first one and see all the potholes. Okay, I see what I did. I see what they did. I see what I didn't do, blah, blah, blah. Let me fix. But if I don't look back on that and see the mistakes I made, then I'm going to do the same thing in the second. So, until it may affect something that's important in your life, that's usually when people turn inward and start saying, okay, I need some help. I need to reach out. Now, who do I reach out to? That goes back to the Black community not even being told where to reach out to. You reach out. Your pastor. Don't get me started on these pastors who's supposed to be helping people. Pass the money bucket. I help.
Some help, Mark. Some help. We ain't gonna put all of them in the same bucket.
Yeah, I ain't gonna put them all. That's why I'm gonna leave that alone. That's a whole other conversation. But sometimes we don't know who to go to. And like Holly was saying, there's people out here who Yahweh have instructed to be helpful for you to go sit down and have a chat with, and they will, just like we take our cars in for maintenance every 3,000 to 5,000 miles. We don't think to take our bodies in mentally or physically, go in and get a maintenance check. Hey, let's check up on the hood. How's everything going? What's on your mind? So so that's I see sometimes you recognize it. Sometimes it's too late. But if you see that there's a pattern and you become aware, knowing that there's an issue, and then knowing where to seek the help from, that's usually where people have to know that there's a problem out there. They see it's affecting things in their life, close one, loved one.
We had That was a good one. And we had a fella message me on the side. This isn't in the group chat. But he says his inner demon is fear, which he didn't experience until he became a husband and a father. He used to be fearless back when there was no such thing as good or bad decisions. Taking risk with his life, money, and relationships excited him because if he happened to fail, it would only impact him. The me now, all right, let me find this. Where was I? The me now, with the fear of not being good enough to support my family, has crippled me to a place where I'm afraid to fail, to take chances and risk, and to get comfortable with what I have, because now I'm afraid I'll let the possibility of any failure on my part negatively impact the lives of the people that I love and are responsible for. What are you all thoughts on that? Because you guys are all fathers and you've been like husbands or, you know, significant others. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on this is, you probably, you know, it's understandable because you were fearless before, but now you have the family. So now, you know what I mean? You have this precious cargo. So now you're like trying to protect it. But my thing is that you shouldn't overthink it. It doesn't mean that you must be reckless, but you and I were discussing that the other day, Alicia, but fear is the opposite of faith.
Mm-hmm.
It's the inverse, right? Fear is like faith to the devil.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're scared of everything and you should be faithful. You should have faith once you pray or whatever you do, meditate, you should make up your mind, right? That this is how it's gonna be and just do your best. But don't overthink it, because when you overthink it and you start being fearful is when you start to invite other elements in there. Because to me, that's what I'm saying. To me, when you fear something a lot, it's usually gonna happen to you. It's gonna surface some kind of way.
Because it's like you're manifesting it.
Right. It's gonna manifest some way in your life because you keep planting it in your subconscious. And your subconscious is like land. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't reason. Whatever you put there, grow.
So Andy jumped in. I'm sorry, my bad, Holiday, real quick. So Andy jumped in and said, we all get a little conservative. We all get a little conservative, but having a family requires you to take even more calculated risk to provide and lead by example. Yeah. So those were his points on it. Holiday, what were you going to add?
I was just going to add that I can totally relate to how he feels, because I once was that person as well, just living wild and reckless, right? But I never looked at this situation now that I have a family or that I have kids with fear. I look at it as a blessing, actually, because if I didn't have kids, where would I be, or what would I be still doing? Especially if I had the same mindset and attitude of living YOLO day by day. You know what I mean? Just living reckless. Wow, I might not be here. I might be, you know, in a totally negative situation. So I actually look at my children as a blessing. If my daughter didn't come along, if my son wasn't here, that's what helped me to hone in and slow down and realize that I'm not just living for myself, but I'm also living for them and making more calculated decisions and making better decisions. Yeah, now the risks that we take are the risks that we want to improve in life. We want to elevate in life. We want to do more. But it's not just hey, listen, I'm just going to go out here tonight, man, and I'm finna pop 10 pills and I'm finna, you know, drink a whole bottle just because, you know, I'm up for the night. No, it's not that anymore. It's just a different mind frame. So don't look at, I would just say, friend, like, don't look at it as fear, but look at it as a blessing, something that has actually helped us to really learn more about who we are, man, and craft and develop that person that you really want to be.
I like that.
Because if not, you know, I agree with Charles 100%. Because if not, you're not going to enjoy the journey.
Right. Yeah. And possibly the wife and the kids could feel like they're a burden because, you know what I mean? Like unintentionally, because you're so fearful to do anything or to be a part of that moment, they could kind of feel that, even if you don't mean for them to. Mark, were you going to add?
Well, I like the way that think it was Andy on the chat put it.
Mhm.
Like Holly was saying, not so much to use the word fear, but your risk is not as great. You start taking you're not willing to just go off the lid when you have kids. So now I do have somebody that's depending on me. So I wouldn't where I would have just went headlong. Now I have to be a little more resourceful, a little more uh, less risk, right? Like still step out there, but not with both feet. Because I got to have one foot on something that's going to be consistent. Because I still got to take care of family, and especially with girls. And I don't know if you have girls, Chris. I know you do.
Mhm.
Girls just really, you talk about fear. There's,
Mhm.
there's
Mhm.
nothing like when your daughter starts getting of age and they have to leave the house. You just like, I need to go with you, but I know what's out there because I was out, and you're at, Dad, I'm going out for the night. Like, man, what club you going to? Let me follow you. So yeah, so there is just there's a level of, again, I don't know if I want to call it fear, but definitely caution, a little
Awareness.
awareness, and you're just not as, and
You have
even like
more things to consider.
you have a lot more things to consider now. You have people that's depend on you. So I would like to say, Andy said, your risks are a little more calculated than just
Mm,
going forward.
okay. All right. Good points there. So we talked a little bit about how you guys renew your mind, but I'm also curious to know, I don't know, self-care is a big conversation. Like, what does self-care look like for you all mentally?
Well,
Communication for me.
Communication is self-care?
Communication,
a vacation.
communication, open, letting a person know how you really feel and how you feel about them in the situation, getting it off your chest. You know, um, I do. I think Chris or Holly was saying earlier. Going to see professionals, reading books on
Mm,
certain issues, hanging with people who've been in those situations before, who can give you positive advice. Somebody who's been there and done that and came through it. What did they do? So keeping your community tight, right? Of,
mhm.
of positive minded people, but also people who didn't just uh, skip through the garden through their whole life. I need some thugs in me that's come up and like, okay, I can talk to you,
Yeah, they've
So
been through something.
yeah, you've been through something, so yeah, we can talk. So so that's to me that is mandatory.
Yeah,
Holiday?
I think Chris said it best, man. Is traveling, right? Making the time and finding the time to disconnect from everyday real world life and finding some time to get away and see the world, see different environments, man, learn different cultures, try different foods. Just sit on the beach and do nothing. Let your hair down. Just vibe. Like you really, that's self-care for me. Like I understand that we all have responsibilities. We have to work, we have to provide for our families, but then you also have to find time to enjoy life as well. A lot of people say that, oh, it's a small world we live in. No, it's not. It's a small city, maybe small town, but this is
Mhm.
a huge world we live in. And if you really think about it, we're probably going to leave this earth without seeing half of what this earth has to offer. So
More.
why aren't you
More than that.
making time for you and your family, or you for yourself, and really goal crushing? Make a plan and go. And if you trying to wait for others to go, then you're
It
losing
ain't
out.
gonna
You
happen.
gotta
Yeah.
get that out your mind as well, man. Because a lot of times you're gonna hinder yourself and you're gonna stop yourself from living because somebody else they can't make it no more, or they change their mind, or they ain't got the funds to do it. Man, I'm not on none of that no more. Listen, when I'm ready to go, I'm going. Yeah, I mean, I check my page, man. I stay gone, and
Yeah,
that's
I
because
can
you
attest to
gotta
that.
find that mental peace, and it could be with my family, it could be with my boys, it could just be solo. But I really feel like that's important, is really traveling, man, seeing the world, man, and just getting away, disconnected for a while.
Because I'm with
Whatever
you
your
because I
passions
feel like
are.
I feel like there's power in being in a different environment. Like just the way that you could recharge, you're not tied to the same like routine and activities that you normally got to do. Like if I took a day off of work and I still stayed home, it's not a day off because I know I'm gonna be doing laundry or, you know, you won't get caught up in the normal stuff. But when you could check out and jump to Miami for the day or go to Sarasota or just be somewhere else, like that changes scenery for me. It stimulates creativity. Like I sleep better. Like it does something. So I'm with you on the change of scenery for sure.
Most people, I bet you, wouldn't even know what their passions really are because, you know, again, if you, depending on what your upbringing was, you probably even never thought this could be possible going to Greece.
Right.
You know, so if somebody haven't, like you were just saying, if somebody haven't introduced you to that, you probably, I bet I'll ask some of our listeners if y'all chime in, do you know what your true passion is? And if you do, why haven't you pursued it? If you know what, you know, truly what makes you
Right.
happy.
That's a whole nother topic. Hold on, let me write that down because
Well,
we're
I'm
gonna
just saying
we need to dive into that one and on its own because
most
yeah.
people don't even know their true passion is and never even thought about it.
That's deep. That's
Wait,
deep.
before we jump to you, Chris,
Okay.
I'm gonna jump to you to answer. Tony says prayers, support groups, game nights, and restaurant hopping are her ways of self-care. I'm not mad at any of those.
I
What
like
you say,
these
Chris? I know, right?
I was saying that in addition to vacation and stuff, I mean, sometimes you can do a little workout, a little exercise, and get the endorphins going to make yourself feel better. I mean, whatever hobby, you can go shopping, you know. You're feeling down sometimes, even if you feel like, oh, you know, I don't have it, go and treat yourself. Because most of the time, most of us, we're busy taking care of everybody else and don't take care of yourself. You know what I mean? Go do your hair, go to a spa, get a massage, you know, whatever. But to me, ultimately though, self-care, you have to take some time out of the day for alone time. You have to have alone time. Some people, this is like telling them a big, big bad word because they just can't be alone. You need to be alone with yourself.
And by alone, that's no phone, no social media, that's no music on.
It's just you and your thoughts. And you give yourself at least half an hour a day, whether you do it in prayer, meditation, breathing, whatever, and you'll be surprised to see how much clarity you get out of that. Because in the Bible, they have something that says, be still. And a lot of us want certain things, God to give us certain things. But you have to be still because you can't find it. You can't over there, you can't over there. You know what I mean?
Or it's just too noisy for you.
Yeah, it's too noisy. You know what I mean? Too much distraction. You can't even see it if it's in front of your face. You know what I mean? You're confused. But to me,
don't preach to me, Chris.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
But anyway, I just think it works, you know? Alone time. Yeah. Whatever you want to do it in. Because some people not religious, right? I'm not here to judge anybody. You understand? Some people do the yoga, breathing, whatever, and it works for them. As long as you find your center and connect with yourself. Some people don't even know themselves, you know?
I
so
think
did you see Alicia's face when you said shopping? Did you see her face? She was biting on her lip when you said shopping.
I know, right? Because that could be a problem too. But Chris, the point that you just made, because I heard a speaker say that it's not so much about it's not about beating the inner demon. I don't remember the exact verbiage, but he's saying it's not so much about, killing or overpowering your inner demon. Instead, it's about learning how to adjust the volume of the inner demon, right? So let's say your inner demon will always be there, whether it's fear, doubt, like whatever form it shows up in, does it ever really flee? Like, yeah, it could flee, but it could come back as something else. But no matter what it comes back as, the goal is to be able to adjust its volume and so that it's not as loud as the thoughts that you need to hear. But if you're not being quiet, and still and intentional about honing in on those hunches, on those directions, on that stillness, then those voices or those, those thoughts will always overpower the others. I don't know if that made any sense, but
I know
he said it a lot better than me, but
it makes sense to, when he says turn it down, but how you gonna do it? I mean, you
Right.
don't have to be like, get behind these Satan or nothing like that. But you just have to be like, you just have to recognize which one is which one. So you hear a logical voice coming to you, just, is this going to help empower me? I hear something, no, you can't do that. No, remember when they did that and it didn't work? Usually that's not the voice to listen to. Because
or like you do and talk to Uncle Demon, like, not right now, Uncle Demon.
Uncle Demon, I'm just talking back in. Chill out. It's not now.
But it kind of goes back. It kind of goes back to what you guys were saying about, faith. Because faith is established because we've seen it done, and we've seen someone do it and get beyond it or get over it. Right? It's been proven and shown to us. So again, back to having people around you. If I'm trying to become a bodybuilder, I don't need to mess around with people who've never worked out. I need to give some people who worked out, because they're going to tell you, listen, you're going to hit a plateau, you're going to hit this point, you're going to want to stop. So when them demons do come, you've been given enough evidence that, okay, I was expecting this, and I know I got to work through this. So I've seen the evidence. I know my boy Chris, I know my boy Holly, I know my girl Alicia. They all work out, and they've all gotten to that point. So it can be done. I've seen proof of it. And they told me I'm gonna get to this point. So, having people around you who've been through it, it just give you courage to, go beyond that. Because those demons they're not going anywhere. They're still there, and they come even harder the more you progress, the more you're gonna hear them tell you, okay, now look at them other 4 people that didn't make it. But I know 4 people who did. So it's a constant battle. It's a daily battle.
Yeah.
Holiday, anything you want to add? Well, I mean, you spoke about the self-care and traveling and all of that, but if you wanted to add anything to what the fellas just shared.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, and I agree with both Chris and Mark, man, but at the end of the day, it's just about like self-love, right? Self-care is self-love. Just finding yourself, knowing yourself, and knowing how you want to be treated by others, but make sure that you're treating yourself that way. If you like to be, taken out to nice places, take yourself to a nice place sometimes, If you want to make sure that you like to keep your nails and your hair done, don't wait for somebody else. Make sure you're taking care of yourself and doing those things that make you happy. Finding that self-love within yourself is definitely a form of self-care, And then you also will learn more about yourself, and you'll know how you would like to be treated by others as well.
Okay, and speaking of treated by others, my final question for you guys is, what do you need in these times of mental warfare, if you would? How can women how can the women watching, the women that are viewing, how can we be more supportive to the men in our lives whenever they're going through the mental war? What does support look like for you guys?
Shut the hell up. I'm just kidding. Pretty much positive intent and positive reinforcement. You see, think positively, don't think negative. The person has a negative intent. Maybe they're doing something wrong, but say, communicate and go, what's going on, babe? What's your passion now? What's your dream? Why you decide to change? And then use positive reinforcement. Don't go, it's better you go and get a job, then you go to work and stuff like that and start. No, that's not support. That's not support, because I actually have a friend going through that right now, and his wife is just supporting him. He's the one that's even saying, listen, let me go and get back to work and not follow my dream. And then she's like, no, even if I have to work 2 jobs. So you can, because I believe in you. But you have to believe in your man. You have to believe in your man. You cannot not believe in your man. I don't mean he's doing something ridiculous, like gambling and he's supporting it. I'm just saying, right? Within reason.
So you said have positive intent with positive
And you
reinforcement.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay. Mark, let me jump to you and then Holiday will close this out.
Yeah. So how can a woman help to support a man? Right.
Yeah, with the mental.
Mental.
And Mark, don't make this part a whole panel, okay? Don't make this a whole separate discussion. No, I'm kidding.
So, I think, well, not that I think, you have to know what your partner's passion is. I like what Chris just said about, supporting, it was just said about supporting the person and, hey, listen, if you can't do it, I'll work that so you can pursue your passion. And for the man, for her to be in that position, he also has to support her to make sure she has the strength. It's just a reciprocal type situation that I have to make sure you're supported for you to have the strength to come on and support me.
Yeah.
So I need to know what it is that's going to make you want to give me all you got. So then I know you're going to turn around like, you know what, I'm going to give you all I got, right?
Yeah.
So to me, it's just, again, it goes back to what Holly was saying. I think going to a marital counselor, being counseled and knowing it's there's something about a third party listening to 2 people that does wonders for people getting to know, each other. But yeah, just knowing what the other's passion is, knowing what I have to do to make you, to push you, and you reciprocating that, knowing what it takes to push me. Because if you don't know that, then I could be doing 1,001 things. But if all those 1,001 things is not nothing that makes you happy or that's your passion, then you ain't doing nothing for me. Like what the hell? All this I'm doing? Because it's not being, changed your mind as it's not for me, that's for you. No, this is, so yeah, knowing what your partner's passions are.
I think that's important too. And that goes back to just understanding like love languages too, because you could be buying them a whole bunch of stuff. But if their love language is really, words of affirmation, you could have saved a whole bunch of money by just telling them what they want to hear, right? And it hit in a more impactful way. Yeah, so I like that you brought that up too. Holiday, the support.
And I kept it on subject.
And you can Holiday.
I truly believe it starts with communication. Because when we're going through mental warfare, what we need is to be lifted up. But how can you know how to lift us up if you haven't communicated with us? We don't need you to assume you know what to do. Just ask. Communication is very important on both sides, of course. But at those times when we need you, we really want to be lifted up and not tore down, right? So, and it looks different for every man. So we don't want it to be like, well, I thought I was helping you out by just leaving you alone and giving you some space because I see you going through it. That might not be what he needs. He might need you to put your arm around him and tell him that everything is going to be okay, or it might be the total opposite. He might just need, just give me a minute, baby, because I'll figure this out. I'm going to get through it. But you all over him and you trying to, well, just tell me what's wrong. Tell me what's going on. That doesn't help either. We need at that very moment when we going through it is to be lifted up, not to be tore down. So it starts with communication, man. Talk. Let's talk it through it. And it's okay to ask. We don't expect y'all to know everything. Just like we need you to understand we don't know everything. So communication starts with and ask the questions that are important when you're going through it. Baby, what can I do to get you through this? What can I do to help? That little piece right there, I promise you, makes a world of difference.
I like that. Okay. Excellent points made. And I definitely had to take some notes tonight. Even the IIRV method, I think that's what it was. Do I have the acronym right? Yeah, that's definitely something that we can take back into this week as we just self-reflect on some of the things and the the activities going on in our head to really determine, you know, which side we're going to play on. But I know we could keep this conversation going. And even in the chat, I appreciate you guys sharing your thoughts on where you stand and just where you're at with this discussion. So thank you for being a part of it. But that is our time for tonight. I don't want to take up too much more of the fellas' time, or else they probably won't come back next week. So we're going to go ahead and pause right here. But please connect with us on Instagram and Facebook. You can reach out at 828 Concepts. I tag all of the fellas. So if there's one that resonates with you and you want to pick their brain or connect with them some more, I encourage you to do that too. They're just as personable in person as you see them on the panel. So what you see is what you get. And then, of course, you'll get more information on the He.Motions episodes. If you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel to catch every episode. Leave us a comment so we can continue to bring you fresh content that you care most about. But for now, we will see y'all next Wednesday. Walk good, everyone.